Welcome to the Mom2Mom Podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I have a feeling today is going to be one of my most favorite episodes to date. We are going to be talking about a conversation that gets brought up in almost every single client meeting that we have, and it is all about the mother's intuition. You are listening to the Mom2Mom Podcast, hosted by Stephanie Sinclair and Nikki Zwaber, partners and lead doulas here at How2Mom.
We're moms, we're professionals, and we're here to make motherhood feel a little less heavy and far more supported.
How2Mom is a community built for real life. From pregnancy and birth to postpartum and beyond, we support families through education, connection, and care. Our team of birth and postpartum doulas work with families every day while also sharing stories on our podcast and our blog to curate trusted resources for moms in the Twin Cities and beyond.
On this podcast, we talk about the real stuff, the stories that stay with you, the questions you're already asking, and the moments that feel hard, hopeful, and everything in between.
Absolutely. You will hear honest conversations, expert insight, lived experiences, and reminders that you are not doing this alone.
This is Mom2Mom. We're so glad you're here. And now, on to today's episode. Yes, I would concur. It gets brought up every single time, whether someone else is bringing it up or we're bringing it up. I think far too often, intuition is really brushed off as anxiety, overthinking, too much emotion, and I want to bring some honor and respect to intuition today with you.
It is incredibly important, and I would almost argue that it's one of the most important parts of your life, of your pregnancy, of your birth journey, and of your motherhood journey.
Yes.
That intuition, it is so strong. It is something that gets overlooked, unfortunately, too often, especially in our medical world today.
Yes. Intuition is not guesswork. It's not wrong. It's about noticing patterns. It's about living in your body every single day, that you're the first point of contact. Something doesn't feel right. This feels off. You all know that gut feeling that you've either maybe run away from before or been told that it's wrong. And so I hope today we can make you feel even more comfortable in your skin and in those sensations that come to your body and what to do with them.
Yeah, we want you to lean into that. We don't want you to back away. And there might be some of you listening that think, I don't have that intuition, or I've never felt it. Yes. It's just whether or not you have listened to it, or whether or not you have been encouraged to lean into it, or whether or not that intuition deserves a seat at the table. Yes. And we are here to tell you, as moms, as humans, and also as doulas, it should be at the head of the table.
Agreed.
So let's talk about what is a mother's intuition. For those of you maybe don't know, maybe you aren't pregnant yet, maybe you're early on in your pregnancy and you're like, I've heard people talk about this mother's intuition, but what is it exactly? And really, in simple terms, it's that inner knowing. It's that gut reaction. It's that pit in your stomach trying to guide you, whether it be what Nikki referred to as something's not right, or maybe you're like, no, this is exactly where I should be and exactly what I desire. An example I can think of is, say you're surrounded by friends or family members and that entire group all birth at birth centers. And like, that's kind of what's expected. Or on the flip side at hospitals, which I think is the more common situation. But something in your gut is telling you, I would feel safest at a hospital. We are here to tell you.
I think scientifically speaking too, from an education standpoint, intuition actually is a nervous system feedback. And so it is responding, it is your nervous system responding to different potential triggers, different environments that your body is naturally reacting to. And so it is real. It's not just phony or fake, or people talk about it like it's some woo-woo thing out there. Like, it actually is a part of your central nervous system.
We also want you to know that it doesn't mean that if you lean into your intuition, you're going to know exactly what to do in every situation of parenthood.
No.
I wish.
Tell me when that kicks in.
Yes. And it also doesn't mean that, we're rejecting medical advice or recommendations, or that we have this inner wisdom for everything. But what we are telling you is that it's there for a reason. And sometimes it is just enough for us to ask those questions or to get a better understanding of what's being recommended. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an answer, but it's just kind of kicking into this gear of that doesn't make sense to me, or I want to understand it better. One acronym that we lean into a lot in our childbirth ed course and as doulas with our clients is the BRAIN acronym, because that's something that you can always take with you, even if you're feeling overwhelmed by information or if you don't know where to start. The BRAIN acronym is really helpful to help you formulate questions to your medical provider, your doula, whomever. It breaks down kind of the benefits, the risks, the alternatives, but that I is so important. And it's one that we will continue to have very detailed, open conversations over. And that I stands for intuition. So if you're in a situation with your provider, they're making a recommendation that just doesn't feel right. You've gone through all the benefits, you've gone through all the risks, you've asked all the questions about the alternatives. And even though maybe statistics might not be on your side in terms of what feels right for you, still lean into that intuition. There's a reason, right? You're not a stat. You're not just like in a research project. You are your own individual person and self. You know your body and your baby best. And there's a reason why that intuition is not only there, but why it's also in the BRAIN acronym.
I agree. Also, kind of along those lines, what intuition is definitely not, and that is you being difficult. That intuition is not ignoring medical advice that Stephanie already had mentioned. It's not buying into something or walking down this path or listening to other people. When we're specifically talking about pregnancy and birth, intuition really does come from that constant connection with your body and your baby. And only you know that connection best.
You're the only one who lives in your body. And there are times where maybe we're tracking contractions with a client, and on paper, it appears that we still have time to stay home and labor at home, or maybe even listening to the contractions over the phone. And we're thinking, as your doula, with both of those kind of data points, we would still suggest rest.
Right.
But then a client responds and says, I don't know why, but something in my gut is telling me it's time to go to the hospital. Nikki and I will never argue with that.
Nope.
Absolutely not. There is a reason why that intuition is kicking in. And more times than not, we're meeting our clients at the hospital and they're having a baby soon after. Yes. And who would have ever thought?
Exactly. No, I very often am telling my clients that I trust them. I trust their body, even when they haven't gotten there yet or can't get there in that moment.
And I think this is one of my favorite parts when we talk about a mother's intuition is, why are we telling clients we trust you? Your mind, body, and baby know best. And it's so much more than just the intuition that we're referring to that's real and there. It's also to help our clients trust themselves. We believe in you. We believe that you know best. We believe in your intuition. And sometimes it takes somebody else believing in that for you to believe in it yourself, instead of writing it off or saying, yeah, my gut told me no, but like, I don't know, my provider, like they're a doctor, they probably know best, and I'm just going to ignore that something feels wrong or something feels right. We have found it to be so powerful, especially when we're sitting down with our clients during their postpartum visits. We have found it to be so powerful to continue to encourage and help them believe in their intuition. I can't even tell you how meaningful it is. I'm thinking of one client in particular, when they look at us and they say, I didn't know that I had that intuition or I didn't believe in it, and you helped me find that. I will never not remember those moments because I know how important intuition has been in my motherhood journey.
Yeah.
And to have support around that at the very beginning of my motherhood journey, I hope that that stays with our clients forever and ever. And I have a feeling that it does.
I think that's true. I think, again, talking about when to follow and when to listen, it's really important to note that intuition also guides, to your point of, well, that felt weird, but I guess maybe I'll try X, Y, and Z instead and see if that feels better. But I mean, your intuition will guide you in labor in ways that are just completely out of your control and are very innate. When that comes to movement and positioning, when to ask for help. I think going back to your comment about when someone tells us over the phone, right? Like, I don't know, something's telling me I have to go to the hospital. Like, that's the perfect example of when to ask for what you need and when to tell someone what you need, right? And maybe when to slow things down, maybe when to rest. We could talk forever about how amazing the body is and how amazing women's bodies are in particular, but your body will actually slow down when it needs to slow down. That's your body's own intuition, your nervous system, your everything, right? So it does guide to all of these things. And I often tell people there's no wrong answer.
Get a little bit like their panties in a bunch when a client has been laboring for 12 hours. They get to transition and all of a sudden they take this big nap and there's been this big spacing and contractions and they're like, what's wrong? Why aren't they progressing? Why aren't the contractions continuing at every 2 minutes? And more often than not, that is literally your body and your intuition saying like, hey, I know that pushing is right around the corner and that's like a pretty, difficult stage. It can take a lot of energy. I'm going to take a quick little nap so I've mustered up some energy to be able to push my baby out. And everybody's so worried of like, no, it's like go time. It's like, I'm going to actually follow the lead of this beautiful patient who knows her body and her baby best. And it looks like it's nap time. So
we're napping now.
We're napping now.
Yeah,
she will let us know when it is go time.
Right.
We don't need to tell her.
No, absolutely. No telling a woman in labor when they're gonna not nap, because that's priority number one. Okay, so I also think when we're talking about medical settings and situations, right? That your intuition, that is probably one of the most highly known places where your intuition will get dismissed.
100%.
And
or where you'll be labeled as difficult.
Yeah, where you're labeled as difficult. And, I want to talk about that because I think so many people feel this way, but again, kind of always fall back on, well, they're the doctor. They know best. They've seen this before. They've done this before, right? So, I think the reality of all of that comes to a head when you are bringing a baby into the world, and it's not just about you anymore. You have this intuition also about following your gut for your kids too.
Protecting your baby.
And so that fine line of protecting your baby, protecting your family, protecting yourself, taking recommendations and advice from a medical provider. I think that fine line of digging your heels in, but a little bit.
I think it too can even be like my intuition is telling me that I need space to process.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean you're going against recommendations or that you're just following recommendations. If something in your gut is saying, I just don't want to respond right away, or something is making me feel pressure and I don't know where that pressure is coming from, maybe your intuition is just saying, hey, you need to take a minute. Take a minute for yourself. Take a minute maybe to be with your partner. Maybe take a minute to chat with your doula. Again, not with the only intention of like, I'm not moving forward with this recommendation, but your intuition is making you pause for a reason. It deserves the space to be able to figure out why.
Right.
Like that follow-up question of like, tell me why are you feeling like you need pause right now? What's the concern? What is this intuition telling you? Does something feel gross? Does something feel icky? Does something feel wrong? And just like if we could have a little bit more patience of exploring why somebody might be unsure or hesitant, once we find the why and we're able to provide information in relationship to that specific concern, that intuition just is at peace then all of a sudden.
What if the answer to the question that a curious patient might ask is, that's just the way it's done here, or that's protocol?
There is nothing, it's like asking for help and help never showing up.
Right.
Like, what do you do in response that you completely shut down for protection? Because if you are somebody who asks questions and then in turn gets disrespected
or
dismissed is meant to feel like, where did that come from? That was a silly question. That was stupid. I shouldn't have asked that. This is why like language is so important.
Right.
Because in return, then it makes women question their intuition. Like, oh, I should have never asked that. That was a dumb question. No, there's a reason why you asked that. And I'm so sorry if it was ever met with dismissal or disrespect, because you don't deserve that. Your intuition doesn't deserve that. And I just wish more people, more providers would be able to take time to realize like how big of an impact that makes on not just the birth, but like their entire motherhood journey.
I think there are protocols and standards that exist, and there's not a lot to do around some of them, but what we can do is continue to be curious.
Yeah. Explain it to the person.
Sure. And even if that answer is, well, this is standard procedure, which you will often get, not everybody knows what the answer is. So having enough courage to advocate for yourself, for your baby, for your family. And this goes far beyond having babies, by the way.
Such a big topic.
Yeah, we can just talk about this in every of life. But I think being a curious person, being an educated person doesn't mean that you're going against the grain or you're being, you're overreacting or you have anxiety. I highly encourage you, if you have been curious before or maybe didn't feel safe asking your provider, I would actually have you go back inside and ask, is this the right provider for me?
Right. Like that essentially could be a red flag.
Absolutely. Quick pause. We're interrupting this episode for something important.
Almost everyone prepares for birth, but almost no one plans for after.
The Preparing for Postpartum course from How2Mom helps you get ready for real life healing, emotions, feeding, support, and what those first weeks actually look like.
No scare tactics, no sugarcoating, just honest prep you can access online on your own time and pull up when you actually need it.
And just a reminder to all of our How2Mom clients, don't forget to use your discount code at checkout.
Learn more at how2mom.com under courses. Now, back to today's episode.
Stay tuned for another episode.
And to talk about specifics in labor and delivery with intuition, kind of the nonverbal side of intuition, what Nikki kind of started chatting about is that like movement, positioning in labor, how your intuition can guide you. I feel like I get to see two scenarios almost in every birth. Kind of that earlier stage of labor, a mom might look at me and say, how should I be swaying my hips? How should I move?
Yes.
And my response to them usually is,
yeah.
but then what's so cool is later on in labor, we won't be having those conversations during active labor. We just literally get to witness this client move her body in the way her intuition is guiding her. I remember my sister during the pushing stage, like there was some guidance of like, okay, we could try this position. How does this feel in your body? All of a sudden, she just got into a position that was so beautiful and so unique. And her body, or her baby moved so much during that one contraction. And I was just like, it's just so powerful to be able to witness not only somebody find their voice with their intuition, but find what movements are best in their body. And then to go back to the verbal intuition, I'm going to name drop again, but Mercedes, who is a dear client of ours, but also has gone through doula training, and we just love her. I interviewed her for a podcast early on when we first started the podcast. And I asked her what one piece of advice she wanted to leave our listeners with. And she said, moms, use your voice even when it shakes. And like, that is so beautiful, because that is a way to lean in and to listen to intuition, even when we're like uncertain, or even if we don't have 100% confidence behind it. Still say what your gut is leading you to say. You know, where does this option align with you? Do you feel safe in your body? What are you feeling right now? Just like so many of these questions that we could be asking moms instead of telling them what they should feel, how they should feel, or what they're feeling is wrong or emotional.
Yeah, no, I love that, Mercedes. That's one of my favorite quotes. So I love that so much.
It's so good. So I think too, to end on this episode, let's talk about practical ways that we can help you as a listener lean into your intuition. I think it sounds simple, but like slowing down, taking space, taking time, just slowing down, checking in with your body, checking in with your baby. How does this make you feel? Oftentimes we feel really rushed during our prenatal appointments. Sit in that room after you've met with your provider. How does that appointment feel? Do you have follow-up questions? I'd rather you sit in that office and ask for that provider to come back in than to go home and go, oh, I wish I would have listened to my intuition. I wish I would have asked these questions. Slow down, like take a minute, take a beat, and see, check in. Are you holding tension? Is your intuition telling you something? Just sit with it for a little while.
Yes. I also love a body check. And this is just good in general, but if you're finding yourself overwhelmed, or maybe you're resisting that feeling too, maybe that feeling doesn't feel natural to you yet because it just hasn't gotten there. Take an inventory of your body. I always tell people to start at the top, to start at your head. Are your eyebrows furrowed like this? Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders in your ears? Are your elbows relaxed? Are your fingers like this or like this? Are they just relaxed, right? So basically like a shake all the way down.
Are you holding a contraction in your pelvic?
Are your feet, are your toes curled?
Yes.
Is everything else relaxed and you have slippers on and you're totally curling your toes? Or maybe you're standing up on one foot a little higher than the other. Just take that body scan, slow down. You can release that tension anytime you're feeling it.
Yes, Nikki does a great job at reminding not only clients of that, but me.
Well, I mean, tell me if you ever see my jaw moving. I caught myself totally chomping on my own teeth the other day.
During
it's just so I have to take my advice.
Wait a minute.
Let's take a scan.
Another thing is journaling. I find what can be even more helpful than just journaling is creating a pros and cons list. Like you can feel like your intuition is telling you something, but you're not sure what it's telling you. You just have a gut feeling, but you don't know what it is, which can be confusing or can get overlooked just because there's not clarity there yet. I urge you to just sit down, bring your pen to paper, write if it's a recommendation that was made from a provider. What are all of the pros of that recommendation? What are all of the cons? Then sit with that list, look at both, see how they feel as you read back through them. But then if you're still lost, like which list is longer? So if we're really unclear, but we know intuition is there, that's a way to try and find that clarity with that intuition, whether it be just journaling, just sitting down and writing, or kind of like making a pros and cons list, or maybe writing down questions to ask your provider to find clarity within that recommendation.
Yes, I'm going to take that up one more notch. I also tell people, and actually I do this with my kids, what do I know to be true?
Yes.
What story am I telling myself?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a similar concept, but I think it is creating clarity.
Yep.
When you read through, I guarantee if you read the column of the stories I'm telling myself, you may even laugh a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of like, oh my gosh, for real, come on.
Right.
This I know to be true. And, so I think, again, grace with all of this, grace with yourself, give yourself that time to process and to figure out what feels right for you. And curiosity also, as a side note, curiosity doesn't come natural for everybody.
Yeah.
Use your support system. Have a support system. Maybe that's a doula. Maybe that's your partner. Maybe that's your best friend. Maybe that's someone else who's walked in these shoes before, right? And so I think having people who can maybe help sort out your words or help you dig a little deeper to find your curiosity is really important.
Yeah. And if you know that you have a really hard time leaning into that intuition, or you're finding it hard to verbalize, maybe this episode is great to send to your support person so that we can help him or her find those questions to ask you so that you guys can begin to explore during your pregnancy. These are tools, and this is a foundation that you can utilize for your parenthood journey as well, like exploring, finding this intuition, being able to lean into it, being able to listen to it. Like all of these are just really great steps to slowly learn and unfold so that you can take that intuition with you, because it's really important in parenthood. There's a lot of opinions, a lot of advice, but at the end of the day, your intuition is what matters. And so it'd be really smart and healthy for you to start leaning in and learning more about that as soon as you can. But just know you are allowed to ask questions, you are allowed to pause, and you are allowed to advocate for what feels right for you. As doulas, it's truly an honor to walk alongside moms as they learn to trust themselves. It's one of the most beautiful things I think we get to witness, especially when it's for the first time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need to find it again. It's really a beautiful thing. And I hope whoever your support system is, that they support. And that could also be something tangible, is like setting those boundaries, like only allowing people in your space. That's even like friendships, like motherhood friendships. Only allow people in your space who believe in you and who believe in your intuition, because we need reminders, and you want the right kind of reminders, which is, I believe in you. I know you know what's best for your kids.
I think just sort of last thoughts from me, when you really get there and trust your intuition, that's when I think you feel the most powerful. And so our hope always at How to Mom is that you feel empowered, that you feel powerful, and that you continue to surround yourself with others that really lift you up in those feelings. You deserve that.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I hope you found this episode to be helpful and empowering. And as always, we love feedback. Reach out, connect with us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. For show notes, links, and more information, please visit our website at motherhood.com. That's HOW, the number 2, MOM.com.
And remember, whether you're a mom, a parent, or a caregiver, you are doing great. There's progress over perfection, and we're all just figuring it out together.